All right, good morning. We are back at it. It is Friday. We made it to Friday, July 29th, 2022. We're just a minute before the open, and I've got the 1 minute pulled up on the screen here. The dotted green line denotes overnight high, dotted red line denotes overnight low. I'll be marking the first minute of trade. Had a very, very bullish day yesterday. Let's drag a screen into view here. Looking at our daily, here it is right here. So came down and then got strong and just blasted off the whole rest of the day. So that was yesterday. We've got some news coming out at 8:45 Central, so another 15 minutes, and then we've got news also coming out at 9 a.m. So 15 more minutes and then a half hour. We'll have news. Not supposed to be a big mover, but you never know. So we will watch the market, see what it does here, and then let it do its thing. I'm going to quick take a look at NASDAQ and see how it's doing in relation to the S&P. So very, very bullish last few days. When looking at the daily, it makes sense. And as I was thinking about just my day yesterday, thought, as big as a move we had on Wednesday to the upside, it would have made sense to be looking for longs yesterday. It must have been that big sell-off we had in the morning, that liquidation break that just got me thinking, well, maybe we're weak. Maybe we'll pull back into a value area from the day before, or, a few days prior, which we didn't do. We just got strong and stayed strong after that liquidation break early in the morning. So we're back today. Good news is that stops were in place yesterday. So had one that worked out okay. Had to kind of adjust on the fly as I got short down low, and then made a little bit of money on that one, and then had a second trade where we got stopped out. Didn't make anything on that. Actually lost money. But the stop was for 10 points, and from where I was getting in, the market just rallied in a big way, much higher for the rest of the day. So taking losses, it's part of the game that we play, and keeping stops in place, that's simply your insurance policy to ensure that your powder stays dry, that you don't blow up your account, and that you reserve financial, and really I think more than even financial, not more than financial, but in an equal way, you're reserving emotional capital as well, in my opinion, by having stops in place. So again, I've got the 1 minute pulled up on your screen. As I start to see things, or as I see a level that I like, that interests me, I will explain the why, and then I'll probably also put up other time frame charts to show you what I'm looking at, why I'm getting involved at a certain level. I'll go ahead and mark the first minute of trade. We just call this the opening range. Much more muted this morning, only about 4 points on the opening range. Yesterday it was closer to 10. And it's just been a strong market, just been up, up, and up. A goal for mine today, actually a goal that I'm going to focus on today and the rest of next week, is being more selective with the trades that I take. There's always room for improvement, always room to better what you do. And even yesterday, getting short at 40.29, it was a decent area, but just in my gut, I just felt, I was a little conflicted about getting short at that area. As the market just pulled up and it was so strong after bottoming out yesterday. So let me see. Yeah, I'll drag a 5 minute onto the screen. We'll make this a 5 minute real quick. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's yesterday. Here's the open. Let me just expand this a little bit more. Open, we're looking strong, looking like it wants to go. It liquidates and just breaks down Ended up getting short, took a little bit of profit down here, but then had a stop for a trailing 30% of my position, got taken out, and not that we knew at that point, because at that point the jury was still out, right? Like it could have, price could have got held down and stayed under 12 and then continued going down, which I thought, as weak as it looked, there was a chance we could do that. But then seeing these real big bars, I remember one bar was within 5 minutes, it moved up 20 plus points. Um, and seeing just the big bars on the 5 minute chart was a good indicator that there was strength, that there were buyers stepping in and really getting involved and pushing it higher. And it's not that I don't like the entry that I had. The entry where I had of getting short was right at opening range. Thought we could maybe at least get a pullback and then maybe continue higher. But here in my gut and even just what price was showing me, it was so strong, and I was just stepping in front of City Hall on that one. So again, it's good that stops were in place because, as you can see on the chart here, it went up and then just didn't stop the whole rest of the day. It just kept on just drifting higher, and now here we are way up here, significantly higher than yesterday, almost about 100 points higher. So, thoughts on the day. Let me get this back to the 1 minute here. So, in being more selective too, I talk a lot about watching and observing, just being a student of the market, observing what's going on, making a decision from there. I feel like personally, the less that I'm engaged in a trade, like the less I'm hunting and really looking and trying to figure out, predict. If I'm not long or short and I'm just observing, it allows me to be a bit more objective. And with that, there may be some trades that I miss, but I also feel like when a trade comes along that I feel really nicely about, that I feel excited about, it's got some potential. I believe when I engage at that point that I'll have more objectivity to be able to read what's going on. Because personally, the minute that I get long or short, there is some kind of bias. There is some kind of wanting to see the trade work out. Yeah, again, sometimes less is more. Opening thoughts for the day. Well, we've got our opening range here, and we've got news for another 7 minutes. I'm going to step away for just a minute, and then I'll be right back. So, be right back. All right, I'm back. Just had to get some batteries and a keyboard here. Get my tea. So last night's congestion area is, here's the 15-minute chart on the left. I'd say it's got to be about 4106 half to the top of the opening range, probably 4093. That's where we did a lot of business overnight. 15-minute came down. We'll see if we get acceptance up in here, and then if we push higher or if we just meander in there, if we break it and go lower. A lot of just waiting, sitting back, waiting for clues. It's odd. Got another 2 minutes on the 5-minute bar. Pretty good move down and then push higher. Just a minute away from this news coming out. Chicago PMI it is. About 40 seconds. I would imagine it'll be on time. All right, here comes the number. Let's see what it says. See what the market does, if anything. Pretty good push up. Let's see if they take out 06. If it stops there, if it just goes up straight up to the overnight high. Sorry if I'm sipping my tea a little loud there. Alright, well, looking at the 15-minute on the left, again, the shaded gray is our overnight area. Came up, got close to 06. Now we're pulling in. Doesn't mean we can't continue higher, but just thought that might give us somewhat of a little bit of a pullback. So we'll watch and see if we find acceptance here, and then if we continue higher, or if we can't, if we go lower. Still early yet. It's we're 17 minutes in. Market feels strong. Right, had that flush down, and now we're hanging out above here. Just looking for clues. Looking for clues, for ideas, for what the market might want to do. One minute here, looking like it's getting ready to push higher. We still got a little bit of time, 1:40 on the 5 minutes, so 5 minute could end quite strong and then just resume the trend upward. So let's see if they can push it higher. If you're long here, you'd probably, if we break out, you'd want to see it stay above 97. So we got our news in 10 more minutes. See if the bulls can pop it here, push it up higher. At 06, that's the level I feel the bulls wanted above. Just hanging out and waiting. I tend to watch the daily, 15 minute, 5 minute, and 1 minute. 1 minute's for a bit more nuance and context. It kind of shows me, to some degree, order flow, who's doing what, who's in control, at levels that are important. I mean, if all you do is just stare at the 1 minute, unless you're a scalper, there's definitely noise in there. We'll ask ourselves, what is the market trying to do, and is it doing a good job? And also, we'll remind ourselves that we can and will have a winning performance every day. I define winning. A winning performance is simply watching and observing without emotion, knowing my target, so knowing where I'm right and where I'm wrong, and then also not fearing that I'll miss the move. There's plenty of moves that happen. Can't catch everyone, and it helps to have conviction about a move before getting into it. Doesn't mean you're always going to be right on every trade. It just means that you want to follow your process well. All right, let's see what the bulls do here. We're about 5 minutes away from this news. So we'll see if they blast it off and continue higher. Or if we've got to consolidate first and then they push it higher, or if it gets weak. Time will tell, won't it? So here we are at 4106. Again, the bulls trying to get it above there. Can't yet. It doesn't mean they won't. Just been an area on the 1 minute where they're taking a little bit of a pause. Okay. Here we are. Trying to push up a little bit. It's good to remember too with trading, there's price action that makes sense, and then there's other price action that is hard to put a handle on. I might try to scalp a little bit right here against that '08 half. Risk to reward though wouldn't be great. I'd be looking for like 98. So still got another 2.5 minutes here on the 5-minute bar. We'll see how it ends. So they got it above that '06 level, popped up to '08. Let's see if the bulls can continue trend. It's good to know, what your risk to reward is on this. So if it was like what I'd call like a cute scalp, if I got short, I feel like I'd be wrong. If it got too much above '08, I'd only be looking for about 5 points on it, down to like 40.98. But being that we're minutes away from the news, I'm just going to sit tight and hang out. Okay, a minute to go. Until what's the number? I think we just had, was it Chicago PMI? Let's see what's up next. Consumer sentiment. Let's see how the consumer is feeling. I don't really look at the numbers. I might read some stuff, some headlines over the weekend just to see, get an overall bigger picture. But as far as numbers that come out, I just watch price action and see how the market reacts to whatever number comes out, because you can get a great number and have a big move down, or you can have a bad number and have a big move up. It could be muted. It's hard to say. Not really a science behind it, I wouldn't say. All right, let's see what it does here. '06. See if they take out 98. Couldn't get down to 98. We're bumping the highs here. Let's see if we push higher. All right, pushing higher, putting in some new highs. Still got another 3 minutes to go on this 5 minute bar. A little bit of back and forth with it. Got down to almost 4,100. Popped up to 4,110. Pushed down, and we'll see if the trend resumes, if it continues. Here we go. Popping the top. So took out the overnight high. Well, so I'm just in watch and observe mode right now. Hanging tight, watching. Anyone happen to get long down there? Again, I know I mentioned that if you were long, you'd probably want to have your stop below 98 or below this, looks like 97. Not below it, but maybe right at it. Maybe give it a point or so. Kind of pushed up higher. No reason to get short right here. Not yet. And I say not yet, like there might not be a short opportunity. There might only be long opportunities for today. Looking at our daily, let's get some context here. So here's our daily, and it's big. This is a big bullish day when it puts in a tail like that and then just goes up. And then you got a day like today, you're kind of getting into this congested area here on the daily, but the top of this range is quite a bit higher. So I'm not looking to fade it, not unless I see anything like that would, like negate this rally, like a pretty big pullback, or unless price takes out a key level. So yeah, just watching and observing, watching it push higher. Not involved with the long side. another 2.5 minutes, so we put in a new 5-minute bar. We're definitely above that. Let me drive this into the screen. So we're obviously above that consolidation area that took place in the overnight. Consolidation was about from 06 down to call it like 93, 94. Top of the opening range was right there at 93. So we're above it now, and to be determined as far as what we do. Whether we pull back and then continue to run higher, or whether we pull back and then just remain in this area here. A lot of just waiting around, right? A lot of hanging tight. Don't have much to say right now. Just watching and waiting. I did mention earlier that I feel like the more I can observe and not be involved, the more objective I'll remain. Right? As soon as you're engaged on whatever level. So let's take a relationship, for example. The more engaged you are with someone, potentially the more biased you can be. Is it the same with trading? Maybe it is. I don't know. And so far for me, I just haven't seen a setup that I'm wanting to take. Feels kind of bullish. But as far as an entry point, don't have one yet. Don't have any strong convictions. So I've just got to sit back, wait and observe, and let price action play out. Usually my best trades are the easiest trades. They're the ones that, it's almost like served up to you on a platter. Like, here you go. Here's a nice trade for you. Enjoy it. They're ones where you're not having to struggle a bunch. They usually go in your direction. The trades that I take, usually within about 10 or 15 minutes, it's going in my direction. It's working out well. And it's proving that my thesis was correct. The ones where I'm just in it, waiting, hanging out, where it's not going in my favor within about 15 minutes, usually there's something that is amiss with that. So it's good to be mindful. Good to be mindful of that as well. Trades that you get into, how long do you usually have to wait? Now, it doesn't mean that there's trades I take where sometimes you just got to wait it out, sweat it out, price doesn't do anything, and then it finally goes in your favor. That happens, but it's good to know what the norm is. What's the normal? What's the usual occurrence with your trading? So, bears tried to get it below that 40.98. They couldn't on the spike lower here right after that news that came out, or probably during it. Couldn't push it lower than this level here, the 98. So bulls just said, all right, we'll take it from here. Been pushing up higher. We're hanging out. Daily is strong. 15 minutes strong. And haven't taken a trade just yet. Wednesday was my first day back after being off for 2 weeks. So just getting back in the groove. And I've got a goal of being more selective with my trades. Right? If I call myself the no FOMO trader, then I've got to abide by that. So much of trading, can be based on a fear of missing out. Even yesterday morning with that big move downward, with heightened volatility, it's easy to think, boy, I need to get involved. I should get involved. Look, if I would have just done this, price is 30, 40 points away from where it was. I could have made a bundle. And, the market, it's here for us to take advantage of. So whether price moves 5 points and you take advantage of that, or 50 points, as long as you know what your target is and what your thesis is, how you want to see it play out, then I'd say you're in good shape. Decent wick on the 15-minute bar here. If we get to like this 06 level, I want to see a reaction there, see how the market reacts. 06 to maybe 04. So here's 06, 04 is here. Let's see what happens if we pop back up or if we continue down in. And so much of trading too, it's not trying to catch the absolute high or the absolute low. Boy, that can burn you quick. But it's about getting some confirmation with the move and then letting the market continue along its path. Man, I was diving off the high board on vacation and I was playing a diving horse, or like diving board horse, with my brother-in-law. So essentially whatever move the one guy does is like horse with basketball. Whatever move, good or bad, the other guy does, you got to do that. Well, he's got to call it before he does it though. So I did this one dive off the high dive, man, and it took my shoulder, and just once I went in and moved it a certain way, and it's been 2 weeks now, and the old shoulder hasn't been the same since. I'm still young enough. I'm holding out hope that it'll heal itself, and I haven't been moving it, but it's just like simple motions. I'll go to even move this way, and it's not bad pain. It's just a soreness where feeling the age, feeling my age. But yeah, that was a new one for me. It was fun. Did a few gainers in there, a few backflips off the high dive backflip with a half twist per his recommendation. For me, it kind of turned out as a backflip, half twist, and partial enema. So wasn't all that great. Landed on the booty, but hey, I was close enough. He gave it to me. I pulled it off. That's what matters, right? Yeah, that one, it's like an inward where you stand facing backwards, but then you jump out and dive down forward without hitting your head on the board. And man, it was that one on the high dive. It just tore me up. All right, let's see if the bears push it lower here. They can breach 05, 06, or if the bulls just hold on to it, take it higher. Oh, I had some cool. Maybe I'll put a little ambient music in the background. There was one. It was called like ambient chill space music. It's pretty nice. Sorry if I'm talking quiet. Or maybe you got your own music going on. That'd probably be a better choice. All right, so NASDAQ just kind of hanging out here. S&P doing the same. Doing its thing. And if you don't see anything you like, there's no need to get involved, right? No, and then you want to do something with some conviction. I'd rather do something where I've got strong conviction about it, because if I'm just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing if it sticks, that's a good way to ruin your P&L. That equity curve, good way to do that. The 5-minute bar, new 5-minute bar is almost forming. Got our 15-minute. Let's look at this one. Let me drag this one into the screen. So 1 minute as well. Here's our 15-minute. Nothing to get excited about. A little pullback. Let's see if it just chugs along, or if this is some kind of a stopping point up in here. Looks like we got down to, what was it here? Like 07, is that right? Yeah, about 07 there. But not that we're doing a whole bunch of stuff right here anyways. Oh, how nice it is to just watch and observe. How nice it is to not have pressure to perform or expectation, just being an observer, a student of the market, and placing your trades accordingly. I'm curious about this little node right here, this little guy. Tried coming up, couldn't. Let's see if we continue on or push lower. I'm not going to do anything right here. Just making a mental note. Again, if you analyze every single tick and movement, one, you won't see the bigger picture, and two, you'll probably overtrade, and you won't be able to see the forest for the trees, as they say, as it were. So again, we'll remind ourselves that we can and will have a winning performance every day. There's 3 pillars to defining a winning performance for me that I adhere to. One, a winning performance to me is just watching and observing what the market's doing. Secondly, it's not fearing that I'll miss the move. And third, it's simply executing with targets and stop losses in place, knowing that I'm not omniscient. I'm not all knowing. So I can have a thesis. Maybe I'm even right. Maybe I'm one of those gurus who's right. I'm not. 90% of the time. Well, if you believe you're always going to be right, I guarantee it's that 10% that's just going to whack you, that's going to take your lunch money and run and leave you crying. It's going to take all your emotional capital as well. It'll have you laying in bed at night thinking about price levels and why didn't I do this and why didn't I do that. So it's great to have a thesis. It's good to be confident. It's also good to know that you may be wrong on a trade. And it's good to know what level, what price the market has to go to show you that you're incorrect with your thesis. So at the end of the day, that's all it is, really, isn't it? I mean, it's having a thesis, a hypothesis, viewing what's going on with price action, and then making a trade accordingly. And there's some trades that work out and others that don't. So it is prudent to know where you're right and where you're wrong. Still waiting on some graphics. I might just have a friend do something on Canva where I'll have a banner that will display it someplace. Maybe I'll put it down low here. Maybe it'll be up top. But the banner will say, it'll have different things on it that say, watching and observing. Or then there might be another banner that says looking for a long. Another one may say looking for a short. I'll have also like targets in there as far as I'm looking for less than 10 points on this. I'm looking for more than 10 points. I'm looking for more than 15, more than 20. And then there'll be a time frame on it. So I feel like this trade would work within less than 20 minutes. I feel like this one I need to give it 30 minutes. I feel like this one would be over 30 minutes, over an hour. So I feel that'll be helpful for people as I'm trading. It'll be helpful for myself as well. Being that once I get involved, I've got a good reminder there. Hey, like you're watching, observing now. Like let the market set up, give it some time, be patient, and then once you're in the trade, referring back to, oh yeah, I thought originally this one would be, 20 plus minutes. So if I'm 10 minutes in, to stick with it and say, all right, like there's no need to get out of it. Give it some time, give it a little leash, let it run, and let the market do its thing. I was talking about my dog the other day. He's a 13-month-old Doberman, and he's a big dog. He's a good boy, and I take him for a run on my bike. I'm like cruising pretty fast on my bicycle, and this guy, he's just running pretty easily. Well, he's big enough. I gotta give him some leash, right? Like I can't have a super tight leash on him. And so there's trades that we take where, if it's a Chihuahua trade, if it's a miniature pincher trade, if it's a smaller breed of a dog type of a trade, maybe we don't give it much leash. Maybe we keep it pretty tight. Maybe our stop loss is tight and we know exactly where we're wrong in a tighter way. But if it's a different kind of trade, maybe the time frame is longer, maybe there's more volatility, perhaps we need to give that trade a little bit more leash, a little bit more wiggle room. So the dog leash trading analogy. You're welcome. All right, let's see if we put in new highs here. It feels like we could. Feels like we will. NASDAQ still trying to do its thing here. Not doing it too quickly. Now, I don't think NASDAQ has come up to its overnight highs. E-mini is obviously above it. Let me just pull up the NASDAQ daily. NASDAQ getting closer, but it is kind of trying to chomp through some congestion. But on the daily, man, I mean, it's super strong. No reason to short it. No reason to fight it. Let's see, get rid of this one. So NASDAQ on the daily, well, we'll let that be. But NASDAQ is at the top of congestion area on the daily, whereas E-mini is still trying to claw its way up to it. It's probably about midway through. Right, so here we go, just resumption of the trend. Bears tried to take it lower, they couldn't, held tight here, and then just another resumption of the up move. Resumption, I think that's a word. Resuming. Anyone else take any trades? Anyone get active at any certain levels? Anyone take a long? Anyone have a bad trade? Anyone feeling emotional? Anyone feeling confident? What are your thoughts? Where are you at? Anything noteworthy? Oh, let's see. Another analogy that I like to use is, the fact that the whole market, it's just like I've heard traders say, it's like one big loaf of bread. And as a trader, it's just your job to take out some crumbs. And a crumb may very well be the largest fortune in the whole world. I mean, it could be a very large amount of money. But, when you think about the fact that there's big moves that happen, there's small moves that happen, there's days with a lot of volatility, there's days with a lot of chop. So the market's doing what it's doing, and if you got a day where if you haven't taken a trade or you just don't have a good read on it, or maybe you do have a good read, so today looking at the chart, I would feel like it looks kind of bullish. It feels like it's going to be strong and just push higher, but personally, I just didn't have a good entry to get involved to convey that feeling that I had. So I've just got to sit back and wait and see if something else develops. Because it's one thing to have a thesis or a bias and be correct, but it's another thing to know, all right, well, where am I going to get involved? If I like it at a certain level, where should I express this feeling that I have, this belief about the market? Mr. J, before the session took some, but none yet. All right, so you got involved pre-market. That's cool. Could have made some on the taking out of the high. As is what it is. A trade will come. They always do, don't they? And there's some days you think, well, this is just what I'm stuck with. Just watching the market grind up, just melt higher. And then lo and behold, a great trade comes along. You've got an idea and you get involved and you make some money on the day, or you don't, or you don't take a trade and you save some money. I love quoting Mark Douglas, and he says, there's oftentimes, sitting on your hands, not doing anything is going to be like just putting money in the bank. Tech T, you riding it up? So again, I've said I tend to be an outside-in trader. I just prefer the trades where I'm fading a move and going against it. I haven't seen anything yet to fade this. And something I'd like to add to my toolbox is getting better at going with the trend. Imagine that. Going with the trend. What a regal concept. So, seeing that it's going up, and then for me, just getting involved to the long side, something I'd like to work on. 2 trades. Well, good deal, guys. Good deal. always good to. Friday's an important day for me. I like to end it really strong, really well. Not that any day you should end well, but so even today, if I take a loss, um, as long as I follow the process well and stick to my rules and remain disciplined, then it makes for a much better weekend. Ooh, shoulder. Watching and observing. That's the name of the game. Keeping the powder dry, right? It's important too. Well, hour and 6 minutes in. Well, watching it meander. Bulls pushing it up so far. Bulls got a new 5-minute bar here. See if the Bulls push it higher. See if they resume the trend. See what the Bulls do here. See if they got it in them to push it up higher. Or if they're all out of steam. Thinking potentially we get a pullback here. Doesn't mean I'm looking to go short. Bulls are the ones in control, so I'm not looking to get short any place. Not yet. It may be that they fail and that they show some weakness, but I don't see any weakness just yet. We're not pushing up as high or as fast as we were earlier, but it doesn't mean that the trend is done. Could just be that some profit is being taken. So again, we're not going to look into every single candle that's on the screen, but we'll look for important levels and develop a thesis if it comes our way, and then act accordingly. See if the Bulls can push higher here, get it above, put in a new high of 23.25. Got another minute and a half till we put in a new 5-minute bar, so we'll see if this one ends strong. And if we continue up. see how well we can resume the trend. NASDAQ is still strong. Still hasn't taken out its overnight high, but it's trying to. It's kind of knocking on the door. Well, still just watching and observing. Nothing got me involved just yet. All right, here's the bullish chance. Let's see if they can take it higher. Still got another just over 2 minutes on this 5-minute bar. Wondering if we get a pullback here, but not that weak just yet. Bears would want it below, I think, like 41.14. So far, with every pullback, we've just put in a higher high or a higher low. So pull back up, pull back up, pull back. So here, here, here. I would think bulls would want it above this 13 area to continue trending up. Pull back here. Let's see if this is, if we can hold this and then push higher, or if we come back in and fail. All right, just over a minute to go now on the 5-minute bar. And that's about it. 15 minutes strong. Everything is looking pretty strong here. Doesn't mean we can't pull back though. I'm considering a short here. First target would be about 14, which is only 4 points away. Next target would be, well, really, I'd call it about, first target should be about this 12 or 13 level. Where I'm wrong, though, where would it have to go for me to be wrong? That's the question. Pardon, sorry about that. So again, it comes down to looking for a good entry point. Where do I enter? And the question is, where would price have to go for me to know that I'm wrong? My goal for this week and next has been to be more selective with the trades I take. So still just sitting and waiting. gotten short, haven't gotten long. Market's strong. I don't want to be fighting City Hall here. Here's 18. All right, let's see if we show some weakness here now. So bears want it below that 14 level. Bears want it at least below here. All right, 9:55. We got another 5 minutes till we put in a new 15-minute bar. Bulls have been in control for well, since the open, really. Last hour and a half. We'll see if they can resume. See if they're just taking a breather here, or if they'll allow a pullback. Another 2.5 minutes till we get a new 15-minute bar and 5-minute bar. almost the top of the hour here. We'll see if the bulls want to hold this level. This level's important. 07 to 08. Let's see if they want to hold that or if they want to give it up and push lower. Pretty decent move on the 5-minute bar here. We've moved, looks like should be about 10 points, close to 10 points in the last 5 minutes to the downside. So we took out this low here. Next target bears would have would be somewhere. Remember earlier I mentioned this 05 to 06 level. It could be important. We'll see if that level holds, if we can get back up in here, or if we just continue further down. Another 2 minutes till we put in a new 5-minute bar. Pretty decent little sell-off here. I'll be back in just a minute. If we push just a tiny bit lower, I'll consider a long. Trying to hold this here. Question is, where does it have to go for me to know that I'm wrong, that I'm not correct? It's been a super bullish day, so would look for kind of a pullback here and then continue resuming to the upside. Did a quick about face there at, what was it? What's the low? 4102 half. Half back is 4102. So that could be all that we see as far as a pullback. So if I'm getting involved down here around 02, I really would want to see it hold above this 98 level. So we'll put that in there. Close enough. We'll edit this guy. And we'll see what it does. If it gets lower here, if it resumes trend, if it keeps going. Or it could be that I get involved at 98 and don't want to see it get much below this here. Let's look at our 15 minute and 1 minute. So again, we came down, pushed up above. Now we're back kind of bumping, you know, what could be support down in this resistance area. So let's see. Feel like for sure below like 95 to 93. So yeah, let's see if we get 98 here. Nasdaq's pulled in a bit too. But again, we're right, this 02 is right at half back. See if the bears push it just a little bit lower. Or perhaps that was the pullback right there, right? Pop up, pull back, and we'll see if we continue. But I want to see it just a little bit lower before I become a buyer. So on this first, if it comes down, I get long. First target is going to be 06 to 08. See what we do here. Give it a minute. I'm going to buy a little bit right here. I'll look to add some if we push just a little bit lower. First target's going to be 10, 41.10. So we're back in kind of this, this was our battle zone initially, this area right here. I'm going to scale out of some there at 6. I'm still in 80%. $41.06 that is. Again, that 02 is half back. We've pulled in a considerable amount, a decent amount here on the 5 minute and 15. I'm not in love with this trade right here. Pullback has been a little bit steeper, a little bit more severe than I thought it would be. We've got another, what do we got here? 30 seconds till we put in a new 5 minute bar. I'm going to scale out of a little bit more there at 05 half. Still, it doesn't feel like I thought it would. I'm going to sell some more right here. All right, so I'm just in 40% of my original trade. I was anticipating the chart to just look a little bit different. So I'm still holding 40% of my original position here at 03. But we'll see. We'll see if we take this out and hold this area, or if we push up. 5 minutes looking a little bit different than what I was wanting to see. Now it might be that if we do get down to 98, I'll consider adding some down here, and then on that I wouldn't give it too much leash. Wouldn't give it too much wiggle room. Looking kind of weak. And sometimes it takes a while for that picture to develop. So I'm still looking at O2, thinking maybe it holds, and perhaps we resume trend, push up higher. But knowing that that doesn't have to happen. Bulls want to get it and keep it above, I feel like, this 06 level here. And see if we can test 10, some other levels. So as it stands now, I'm in 20% of what I'll allow myself to trade. So I've scaled out of a little bit for a little bit of a profit, but I'm not totally convinced that we don't push a little bit lower. Got to go with the gut, right? Sometimes you get in a trade and just expecting it to act a little bit different or feel differently. So here we are. Got another 2 minutes until we put in a new 15-minute bar. Five-minute looking a little weak to me. One minute looking weak, that's for sure. I'm gonna flatten right here. All right, so perhaps we push lower. If we do, I'll kind of watch price action down here. So just flatten that last little piece of break even. Wasn't really convinced by price action. I'm gonna buy some right here. I'll hold it against this low. So I'm in 30%. I'm gonna hold it against this low of 41.01. Now that we seem to be showing a little bit of strength. See if we can resume a little bit. I feel that NASDAQ's come in a little bit too much. So looking for 41.10 here. Bulls need to get it above that 08 level. Oops. Need to push it above 08. So 01, where we came down to, that is the half back. I've got a tight leash on this guy, right at the recent low at 41.01. I'm in 30% of what I'll allow myself to get into, so not in too heavy. I had a different picture in my mind for how I thought this pullback to halfback would pan out. It still could work. I feel like odds would favor that we do push up, but I imagined it, kind of visualized it looking a little bit different than this. So we'll see if the Bulls want to resume, if they can get us above. If not, got a tight stop in there with my insurance policy, and it'll tell us that something's different. Something's changed a bit. Another 2.5 minutes until we get a new 5-minute bar. I'm almost stopped out now. All right, I'm out of that one. All right, so far a scratch for today. The money I made on that first trade, just tried to get involved again. Didn't make it happen on the second, so just flat for the day. Let's see what we do here. Nasdaq's pulled in quite a bit. I want to see where this 5-minute bar ends up. I'm going to try a little bit right here now. Getting long, that is. Watch and see what it does at 98. So here we are at that 98 cluster. See if this is where the bears stop pushing it lower. Boy, I'm not a fan of this price action right here. Let's see what is going on. I'm going to look to flatten. If we can get a little bit of a pop, I'll just get out of this guy and wait for more confirmation. I'm just going to flatten right here. So let's sit back and wait now. So that pullback is definitely a lot larger than I thought it would be. Pushing through some important levels. Nasdaq's pretty weak. We're right back to the opening range. I might try taking another crack at this with a ROM below 92. Pretty decent little pullback there. I'm going to watch it here. If it firms up, if it's going to hold this 93 level, I'll give it one more shot to try to take a long, get back involved, and see if we can't push up to first target's going to be this 06, and then 10. Watch it from there. But I'm not going to get in a hurry with getting involved right here at this level. I want to see it spend some time here and firm up. I'm going to buy some right here. On this one, I'm wrong if we get too much below, like too much into this opening range area. Don't want to see it just hang down in this spot right here. So last attempt, looking for a long. If this doesn't work, then that'll be it for me for the day. First target's going to be this 03 level. I'm in 50% of what I'll allow myself to trade, thinking that this could be the spot that we firm up, where the bears give it up and hopefully the bulls resume. But yeah, first target's going to be for me 03 to 04. NASDAQ looks like it could be firming up at this area here. You know, sometimes your gut, it just, you know, you just don't feel it in your gut. I'm going to buy a little bit more right here. So I'm in a total of 60% of what I'll allow myself to trade. Still not super heavy. And we'll see now if this is the level where we firm up at. So bulls need to get it above this 98 level. Aware that the pullback has definitely been a bit heavier, a bit stronger than anticipated. Watching the 5 minute here. Still got another almost 2 minutes until we put in a new 5 minute bar. So I do want to see it hold this level, firm up, 90. I want to see this guy hold 90. This is my line in the sand. Make this yellow. About another 40 seconds on the 5 minute bar. So I'm long from this level, just 2 points above. I'm in 60% of what I'll allow myself to trade. Looking for the bears to kind of stall out here and for the bulls to gain a little bit more. Want to see this stay above 90. That's my target. That's my goal. I'm going to buy just a little bit more right here. Okay, so this price action is a little bit more what I visualized. On this, as I mentioned, I'm wrong below 90. First target is going to be 03. Question remains, how much do I want to take off the table at 03? That's a good question. My average price is 97. NASDAQ and S&P both have pulled in quite a bit. Quite a bit more than I anticipated on such a bullish day. Looking for another 3 points to get that 03. Next target's going to be 06. Getting closer here. Some nice price action on the 5 minute, that's for sure. I'm close. I'm going to get out of half of it at 03. Hopefully we can hold and get me filled. There's no surprise that we're bucking up against a little bit of resistance there. I'm going to exit just a little bit there. And there we go. Okay. So I'm out of half. That one worked out nicely. And I'm still in half of this thing. My original size was 70% of what I'll allow myself to get into. Nice 5 minute bar here. Next target's going to be 06. Now the movement of this one was more of what I was envisioning. It's helpful with your trades to kind of envision how you think you'd like to see it play itself out. Let's see if we can get 06. Pretty deep pullback there that we had. Perhaps I'll look for 05 here at this level. 06, it would stand that 06 would give us a little bit of resistance. So let's see if we can push just a little bit higher. I'll try to take a little bit more off at 05. Getting close there. All right, there we go. And sell just a little bit more. All right, so 06 almost hit. And I'm, let's see, what are we in here? I'm just in 20% of my original position. Now I'll kind of let it run, see if we can't go higher. Stop's going to be here just at my break even, and we'll see what we do. So, all right, well, that feels pretty good. Sometimes you just never know how long you're going to have to wait to get a nice trade on. Other times, I'm going to take a little bit more off the table right here at 07. All right. There we go. So yeah, initially when we came down, I'll walk you through what I was envisioning. We had such a big run up. Let me pull up the screen. So I'm still in this, looking for 10 for next scale, and then after that we'll see. I'm only in, what are we in now? Just in 10% of my original position, so pretty small. Break even, stop is right at break even, which is 97. Boy, the importance of being flexible with trading, right? So we'll kind of recap this, and I'm going to wrap it up for the day. It is 10:43. I usually trade for the first 2 to 2.5 hours of the day. Overnight is here in the gray. One second. There we go. We'll get right there. Okay. So overnight session is here in the gray. This is our 15-minute chart. So yesterday we closed somewhere around here, pushed way up, came up high, and we opened this morning pushing lower, probing down there, and then just ran them up. I can't say that I wasn't tempted to try to find a short up here in this area. I was looking for one. The market has been so strong the last few days. I thought, boy, I really don't want to be fighting City Hall. Let me just watch and see what it does. And then as we pulled back, initially the thought was, okay, half back is about 41.01. So the 41.01 level, this is the 5-minute on this side, came up, pulled back, and thought, okay, maybe 41.01 holds. But I just didn't like the way this was looking as it was kind of unfolding. I was visualizing, thinking about what I would expect to see with the chart, with the movement of price. And it just wasn't doing it for me here. And so I had one where I made a little bit, had another one where I gave that back, and so just flat, just scratched. Tried to get involved again here at like 99, and then it still was just looking weak and ugly, and so got out of that for a small loss. And then finally, that picture that I was envisioning, that setup that I was thinking, okay, like if we get to this level, I think this would be a good spot. And I remember watching it here at 95, then getting involved long at 97, and having a clear and defined area of where I knew I'd be wrong. Because on this trade, I wanted to give it only about 7 points worth of heat. I'm going to scale out of a little bit more right there at 9. All right, so I'm just in 5% now of my original position. See if it runs, if it wants to go. So the struggle I was having when price was coming down to, let me just blow this screen up. When price was coming down to this 01 level, it was looking kind of wonky, and my thought was, well, gosh, if we get to 98, I'd still like to buy it there. Or even if we got to 95, I'd like to buy it there as well. So the question in my mind that I couldn't define, that I didn't have a good answer to, was, on this trade, where am I wrong? I thought, well, if I'm getting in at 01 or 02, I feel like price could still come down to 92 or even closer to the low 90s, and I'd be taking 10 points of heat. So this just didn't feel right here. But when we got down to this 95 area, for me, it just crystallized, and I thought, okay, I'm in at 97. I feel like I'd be wrong if we got much below 90. I remember talking about getting below opening range if we pushed much below that I didn't want to be involved. And in fact, it held up nicely. And looking at the 1 minute here, let me get that out of the way. Looking at our 1 minute, we had a nice pop here and then a little retrace, and this is where I ended up adding some with with an average price of 90. It was like 96 half actually, the average price. So really pleased with the way that one turned out, and there it is. So patience pays, doesn't it? In the game that we play, it pays to be patient. Well, that's going to be it for me. I hope everyone has a great weekend, a great day, and trade well, trade with discipline, have your stops in place, and we'll see you soon. Take care.